This program is brought to you by Medical City, the Neely School of Business at TCU, and Community Trust Bank. Welcome to Platforms, the life-lifting news program for women. Now, here's your host, Siobhan Palmer.
Hey, welcome everybody to Platforms, the life-lifting news program for women. This week we're talking about a wonderful nonprofit, Texas-based nonprofit called Grace After Fire. Grace After Fire is designed to serve women veterans from all eras and branches of service, which currently numbers 1.8 million, and is preparing to meet the high numbers of women, approximately 14% of the armed services, currently serving. Although women veterans represent less than 6% of veterans assessing VA health care, 71% of the women who do use the VA system have a mental health concern. Grace is a virtual organization reaching across the nation and is already engaging with women veterans still in theater as they prepare to come home. Our first guest today is Stephanie Moles, the founder of Grace After Fire. Stephanie, welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
This is a remarkable program, Texas-based, to help women veterans and their families. But why don't you give us just a brief background about how this all came about, you as the founder?
Very spiritual in nature. It was truly one woman put her hand out to me when I was struggling, and her ability and the time and the grace that she took to do that changed my life forever. I had personally been raised in an alcoholic home. There was a lot of domestic violence, had the pedophile uncle, had 3 alcoholic abusive stepfathers. I was a mother at 15. I had been, at the age of 18, I was abducted from a laundromat and held at gunpoint and raped. And then I married an alcoholic abusive man and had 2 children. At the age of 30, this woman put her hand out to me and said, "Do you want to change your life?" And I was ready, and literally walked me through a changed life. And through that process, I learned to embrace and love women and realize that we are truly a sisterhood. I didn't know that. And so I went back to work, I went back to school, went into corporate business with computer resellers, worked for Intel, went to San Francisco, worked in the venture capital, had a great career, and then decided to take a sabbatical, take a year off. And I listened to what I'd been, I was about 15 years sober, and I listened to a woman cry out that she didn't know how to not drink and didn't know how to put her life back together. And I heard that, and it's like, knowing technology, why are we waiting until they struggle after treatment? Why are we not reaching out to them
prior to the collapse?
Exactly. And why do we have to wait till they're crawling on their knees? And that's when the woman's heart was founded. And it's really one woman talking to another. And so we've had great opportunities. We had a great board. We got to do some amazing assessment work in Alaska, really looking at how do we use technology to reach women in rural communities, women who are separated by land or ice and mountain, to help them transition from treatment back into a recovery lifestyle. And that's where we saw the greatest gap, is transitioning from one point to another. How do you develop that lifestyle? And so from there we went to Wyoming and did a 3-year project there. It was very successful.
And these were not women veterans necessarily? These were...
No. What happened was we had a very successful program in Wyoming, and then after 3.5 years, the outcome of that, we had very successful numbers. Going through the data, amazingly found that we had used this site only for our projects. We'd never published it. Pulled the data out and found that 40% of the women over this time period who had come to our site were women veterans.
Interesting.
Struggling with drugs, alcohol, misuse of prescription drugs, suffering from depression and anxiety and isolation, and asking for help. And so at the end of that project, we really thought we were just going to go, oh my gosh, we can't walk away from this. And we'll bring it with us. So it'll be, and we named it Grace After Fire.
That's a fantastic name. Yeah, that's.
The response was unbelievable. We put up just a splash page and said, oh, we're going to talk about military sexual trauma, we're going to talk about trauma in general, depression, anxiety, alcoholism, and addiction. Bombarded by women saying, oh my God, there's finally something for us. Women from Vietnam saying, I know what they're going through and I'll help. The ones who still weren't struggling, were not struggling still to that day, were immediately volunteering their support for their fellow veterans. And then there was a 1% response that were the VA and the vet centers saying, and calling, saying, we have nothing for our women, especially in rural communities. We have some programs for our men, but we have nothing for the women when they come here. Can we refer to you? So went to the board, felt the calling, said, you know, we cannot deny this call for help. And so completely reorged. Everything is Grace After Fire. Continued to get those responses. About the numbers that we got, when it was just looking at women and addiction, a general population, 7 out of 10 were at some level of crisis when they found the site. When we looked just at women veterans, 8 out of 10 were in crisis. And so the need is high, the need is unmet, and it's a great opportunity to reach out in new ways and be able to help. And that's what we do, is we protect. You know, it's safe, it's confidential, it's private. You're okay here. It's okay to not be okay. And where can we connect you to where you need to go? Do you need help? Do you need a therapist? Sometimes women just need somebody to talk to. And then where's that opportunity for them to renew their life? Is it education? Is it parenting? Is it relationships? Is it some kind of personal growth? The leaps and bounds of alternative medicine helping with anxiety and depression is phenomenal. Yoga is considered alternative medicine, or alternative support means, and it's profound.
Do you feel, looking back, that if that woman hadn't reached out to you at age 30, how different your life would be today?
I probably wouldn't be alive.
So that's another incentive, the importance of Grace After Fire, in terms of letting these women know, particularly these women vets, know that they aren't alone and that there are resources and anonymity through the internet and the website to where they can get a lot of these problems addressed.
You know, today, when I was waiting for this, I was at Starbucks having a cup of coffee, and just commented to a woman about what a beautiful day it was, and we began to chat. And we immediately, as women often do, found our affinity with each other. Oh, this reminds me of California. And I said, oh, I used to be in California. Oh, yeah, I was in San Diego. Oh my gosh, my grandchildren are in San Diego. Within about 3 to 4 minutes, we almost pulled our chairs together because we were alike. That's what's happened with Grace After Fire, is that women, I'll give you an example. When, you know, I responded to these 40% women, you know, what do you want? How can we help you? And I said, if you really want to do this, we'll pull this together. And they said, we really want to do this. And so I did some training to teach them how to work on the site. One woman wrote to me and she said, I have PTSD so bad, I can't use the phone. And I said, well, okay. I said, you know, do you instant message? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, it'll take a little bit of time, but we can do this. If you'll do it, I'll do it. So we set up a late night and we're instant messaging. And I've worked in the treatment with women. I've worked women coming through the process of life-changing events. And I could watch her. I was watching her in the software. I was watching her online. And I could see when she got to her personal information, she got really hesitant. And so I was just chatting with her. And I wrote, I said, you know, it's really amazing how many women have been raped in the military. She completely froze. So then I typed, I was raped. She didn't move. I was held at gunpoint and raped. And then she wrote, I was raped. And then I wrote, shit. And she wrote, I was raped by 2 Marines. I said, double shit. She writes back, LOL. I'll say double shit. And then she just opened up. We were online with each other for 2 hours.
Amazing connection there.
Amazing. And she, wondered what she said, the first thing she said, I thought I was the only one. Until I found your site, I didn't know that this had happened to other women.
Stephanie is a remarkable story, and like I said, I'm looking forward to introducing our audience to your new executive director, Kim Olson, and another lovely lady that's on staff with Grace After Fire, but it's an outstanding organization. Please give our audience your website so to get more information, potential sponsors and donors, and women vets out there who need this help desperately.
It's www, of course, graceafterfire.org.
Another easy website. Give me a high five. Stephanie Moles, it was an honor having you on the program.
Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Siobhan Palmer with Platforms, the life-lifting news program for women. Back in a moment with Kimberly Olson, the Executive Director of Grace After Fire.